What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of the Believe in Oregon podcast, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm Zachary, Neel, Jonathan, Stewart, Jay Stu. What's up, man? How we doing?
I'm good, dude. How are you?
Doing good. I'm excited to. I'm flying down to Miami tomorrow. Excited to get that trip going. Get some nice weather. It's freezing cold here. I'm sure it is there too. So, looking forward to that.
It's like bipolar here. Like,
Is it?
yeah, it's one day it's cold and the next day it's hot, and it always kind of happens around this time of year, right? We get
Interesting.
these cold weather fronts that come from out of nowhere, and then we get the southern heat that comes from Florida, and we're kind of like in that mix of
Huh.
just weird weather. Let's just put it that way.
Apparently, it's not going to be that relatively that hot down in Miami. It's gonna be like mid 60s, and I'm like, that sounds amazing.
That sounds amazing. That
I
sounds
will take
perfect.
mid 60s any day when it's 32 degrees out right now.
That's a man that has perspective right there.
If it's warmer, I would take 50s, man. That sounds great. That sounds great. Well, it is. It's game week, man. We're finally here. Today's show, we're going to dive into the matchup against Texas Tech on Thursday. Talk about some of our biggest points of emphasis in that game, some of the biggest keys to victory. We're going to discuss the rest of the college football playoff slate in the quarterfinals and just in general get you guys ready for what should be a really fun week of football ahead of us. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, let's get started. We have previewed a lot of big games this season, but I think this undoubtedly feels like the biggest one, obviously. You could argue that the game against Indiana was really big. I don't think we really knew how big it was at the time because we didn't know that they were going to turn out to be what they were. But before we get into specifics and matchups for this game, I just want to hear from you, kind of your overarching view of this game. How are you feeling? What's your confidence level? Are there any part of you nervous for this game?
I'm pretty confident, going into, we talked about it last week. This game coming up a little bit, but I kind of did obviously a little bit more research and just kind of gave a little bit more focus to who Texas Tech is. And they're good. They haven't necessarily played the level of talent to give me any type of sway one way or the other. But I feel confident in who Oregon is, right?
Oh,
I feel like I know our weaknesses. I kind of did a little bit of reflection on them. Going into this game, I think as long as we are efficient in red zone, because that is a little bit of kind of like where we, our red zone defense rather.
yep.
That's kind of one of the things where we're a little bit foggy. And looking at Texas Tech, like Texas Tech is a team that struggles offensively in the red zone. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a matchup there where if we figure out how to be better than what we have been in certain occasions, not letting just if we first of all prevent them from getting in red zone, that's a win.
Yep.
But being stingy when we are there in those instances against a team that does struggle there, I think those types of things where it shows up on film and where it shows up in this game. I feel like if we are disciplined on defense, I think we come out unscathed.
Yeah, I share your confidence in this game for sure. I've been giving Texas Tech like all due respect. I think they are a very good team. I think they are next to Indiana the best team that Oregon has seen this year for sure. I just think Oregon's better. Like
Yeah.
and that's not just against Texas Tech. I think Oregon, I really do think they might be, the best team in the nation right now. I feel very confident that they can make this run. And it starts with
Okay.
this game. Like we got to see what they're going to do. To me, this game is about Oregon's offense against Texas Tech's defense. That's what it is. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not too concerned, like you said, about Tech's offense. I know they put up points. They've got the number 2 scoring offense in the nation. Like you said, I also know they haven't played that many people. I mean, the Big 12 is not notoriously known for its defenses. Like I think that they're a solid team, but if you're going to build a starting offense out of both of these two teams combined, I think you're taking a lot of Oregon's players, like
Yeah.
quarterback, Oregon, running back group. I think you'd probably take Oregon, tight ends, Oregon, offensive line, Oregon. I'm willing to hear an argument about Tech's wide receiver group. I think they're very good. I think they're really talented and really big, but the Ducks feel good about the guys they're bringing to the party too. So I'm feel good about Oregon's ability offensively. Tech's defense has not seen anyone as capable as Oregon this year, I think. They haven't seen a quarterback like Dante Moore for sure.
Yeah.
But that's the key to me is how can Oregon's defense do against this Tech? How can Oregon's offense, do against this Tech defense? Because we saw what Oregon's offense looked like against Indiana, the best defense they've played, and they struggled. And I know that was probably the worst game they've played all year. They would do a lot of things differently if they had a chance, and hopefully they do have a chance. But I'm mainly focused on Oregon's offense and Tech's defense here. That's where this game is won or lost to me.
Yeah. And then obviously too, you don't want to get a team feeling confident, right? I think Texas Tech, they thrive in third down efficiencies. And so being able to win on defense for Oregon is crucial on first downs. So you don't want to give them second and shorts, third and shorts. Very similar to how I was explaining JMU last week. And so I look at the matchup as far as the key matchups rather. It's going to come down to the trenches.
Yeah,
Our
always.
offensive line has to be better than their front seven. Like if everyone's hooping and hollering about how great Texas Tech's defense is, and like you said, Dante Moore is arguably the best quarterback in the nation. And if he operates the way we know he can operate, which is diagnose the defense, recognize it quick, throw the ball, get it out quick. If they're sending pressures, get it out. And then on the flip side, on our defense, send it. And when I say send it, I mean send them guys, pressure that quarterback.
Yep.
Because I feel like, at this level, man, there's a drop off in talent. There's a drop off in guys that are professionally made, right? Their quarterback's not professionally made. He's just not. And you send pressure on guys like that because they're going to screw it up. And if I'm Tosh, that's kind of how I'm building out my whole plan going into this game is, our front guys, they're going to win their one-on-ones, right? And so we'll be able to play, whatever coverage we really want to disguise certain things. But when given the opportunity to send those blitzes, send it because that's going to knock him off his dot.
I agree. This feels like a game where that front four and Mateo and Tatum off the edge can really have a massive impact because going back in Oregon's schedule, I think it's 4 of the last 5 quarterbacks they've faced have been mobile quarterbacks, guys that can get out of the pocket and scramble on you. And you just, you have to defend those guys differently. You got to contain more instead of trying to just pin your ears back and rush the passer. You got to make sure it doesn't get out on you. Aaron Morton is not a mobile quarterback. Like he does not want to get out of the pocket. He does not want to get hit. They've got a solid offensive line, but I think that Oregon, they have not had the opportunity to really pin their ears back and just get after the quarterback over the past couple months. I think they could do that this game, and that should be a massive emphasis.
And especially, this could be an opportunity for these guys to actually get a chance to get after him because, again, with the teams we played recently, they've been told to get that ball out. Hurry up, get it out. We can't block for that long.
Quickly.
So if they so I hope that they come into this game feeling very confident in their offensive line and how they can protect the quarterback because it's exactly the matchup we want. We want you to think that you can wait for these deep routes to come open. That's when you absolutely pin your ears back and get to that guy.
I was talking to our good friend Jeff Schwartz. He made a good point that this game to him defensively for our game plan reminds me a lot of the Washington game and how they kind of said, all right, you guys are really good at explosive plays. You want to throw the ball downfield. You want to get chunk yards. we're going to sit back in this 2 high cover 3
Mhm.
or cover 2 with Dylan Thieneman in that little rover spot in the middle linebacker spot
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, if you want to run for 4 or 5 yards per carry, like go for it."
Go
Like
for it.
we don't think you have the patience to do this all game. That worked against Washington because Jed Fish absolutely did not have the patience. Maybe that's different against Texas Tech, but I think that's kind of the game plan they might go with. Say, hey, you're not going to beat us over the top because Tech
Yeah.
has the number 2 explosive offense in the nation. They get big plays with those receivers, so that's a
But
big key.
again, that was going against UW, right?
Yeah,
UW, they're sitting at home on the couch this
that's
week.
true.
So
That's true.
that to me is part of the game plan, but you absolutely have to play to win. And if
Mhm.
you're a defense, you play to win by sending somebody. So
Yeah.
yeah, front four is going to win. They're going to win their matchups. But and the reason why what works when you have a defensive front that can actually win their matchups, that's when you should be sending guys because they should be free, right?
Yeah. You get a free runner.
Um, they should be free runners, and that free runner to a guy that wants to sit there like a statue, like a prima donna, like an entitled, ambassador for the quarterbacks that used to be like Peyton Manning and all of them.
Uh-huh.
That ain't gonna work here. That ain't gonna slide.
We've talked about why we're confident. What gives you the biggest level of concern when looking at Tech? If Oregon were to struggle in this game, it's because what happens?
We abandon the run.
Okay.
Don't abandon it. Dial it up. If they are who they are, you know that going in. You still have to
Mhm.
dial up the run because a lot of um what can go right is part of that, right? Setting up the play action.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see a bunch of boots. Like
Yeah.
all these teams running boots these days. It's like I can see it a mile away, right? And you can run into trouble. But play action, the simple play actions, like out of the gun, the little, running back going across the middle, like a gap, whatever. Like you have to commit to the run game because once you avoid it or once you try to back off the gas pedal, those are that you don't want to go into a 3 and out
Yeah.
where you're trying certain things and you get pass happy or um you get tackle for a loss or you get a 3-yard gain. Don't be discouraged. This is supposed to be a good matchup. This is supposed to be one of the elite defenses in the college football ranks, right? So make your guys earn it. I think the run game has to be a part of this mix because you look at the stat line. I saw a stat line the other day. It said, we're like 20-0 when we
Uh-huh.
rush for 100 yards or more. Um, and we look and the times that we've lost, it's been because we've rushed for less than 100 yards. So commit to the run game. You have the backs. I know Jordan Davidson's banged up.
He's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine.
How,
He's been at practice playing. He's good.
so he was non-weight bearing after that game, huh?
I watched him in practice 2 days ago running around and fielding kickoffs and stuff, so I
Feeling
think
pretty
he's
good,
fine.
huh?
I think he's
Man, what it
fine. I
feels to
don't
be
know.
young. He must have drank some potion.
Yeah.
But that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll be in full strength at the running back spot. So you have no excuse to not run it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Decorian Moore and our receivers, they benefit from having a solid running game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I agree that's a major point of emphasis. I don't have any concern that they're not gonna do that. Oregon has been
Hmm.
so good this year of remaining balanced. I mean, it would be
Yeah,
easy for them to say, "Hey, we've got this great stable of running backs, we're gonna run and not pass. We've got this great group of pass catchers, we're just gonna pass all game
yeah.
and not run." They feed all of their players. It's been really good to see this year.
Hmm.
I am if I have a concern, it's with Tech's wide receivers against Oregon's secondary. And like obviously Oregon's secondary is great, but Tech's wide receivers are not just good, they're also really, really big.
Yeah,
Virgil, Douglas, Eakin, all over, I think they're 6'2, 6'3, 6'4, all over 200 pounds. Like big bodied guys go up and get it. and they distribute the ball very evenly amongst them. So this is going to be a big game for Oregon's secondary to. I don't know if they're going to man up or play coverage. I don't know what they feel like is the better, more advantageous situation for them, but they're just going to have to be physical at the point of attack when the ball gets there. So I think if Tech is going to find success, I'm not too worried about their running game. I know they're a solid rushing team, but I think it's going to be through the air if they can find success and just have a little bit. I wouldn't even call them mismatches, but just they've got some really good receivers out there. So I'm just cognizant of that.
Yeah, I think as long as we come into this game and we tackle well,
Yep.
I think you keep everything in front of you. And we saw this yesterday with at the professional level, NFL with Carolina Panthers. They played the Seahawks, and the Seahawks is a damn good defense, but they kept everything in front, and it forced Carolina, right, to basically play everything short, to check downs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not a solid tackling team, that can bite you in the butt, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if Oregon comes in this game and finishes every play like it's their last and tackling, getting guys to the ground as fast as possible, running and rallying to the ball wherever the ball is on the field, doing the things that they've been doing all year and just making sure you stay the course in the second half, right? I know last game some of the starters came out and they should take pride in the fact that you know whether you're a starter, whether you're a second guy, whether you're a third guy, you take pride in the fact that one side of the ball let you down in
Mm-hmm.
some facet, right? And so you show up and you erase your wrongs with the rights.
Yeah, it's a good note. It doesn't matter like how many completions I think Tech gets in this game. What I want to see is the
Hmm.
yards after catch. Like
Yeah.
if you can give them 25 completions, if they're for 4 or 5 yards and they're getting tackled right away, okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
Great.
That's
Good for
fine.
you, man.
Yeah,
Congrats.
that's totally fine. What's one thing that you think Oregon does well that they're not really getting credit for as we've seen this game get previewed? I think that we both feel that Oregon is the better team here. What do you think that people on the outside don't really see about Oregon? Because it's a close point spread. I think you and I both think they are going to cover that spread. Why is it so close in your opinion? Why don't you think a lot of people, I don't know that they're not giving them respect, but
Hmm.
what do you think Oregon is better at than most people from the outside don't see?
That's a good question. Hmm, Pondering. Because I mean,
You want me to go?
I, I would know. I would say explosive plays.
Yeah.
Um, I think every game that mattered, we've had an explosive play that has put us over the top.
Hmm.
And I think we have the receivers, and obviously we have the receivers that have showcased that all year. But when you do have a balanced offense, like you said earlier, you do have the ability to leverage that.
Hmm.
And defenses can't necessarily play both, right? You don't have enough players on a college football roster to be able to lock down a number one receiver, a number two receiver, while also, maintaining composure and run fits, right?
Hmm.
So I think the explosive play ability um, is something that I think people know about, but I think defensive, like when you're talking about Texas Tech and trying to give them credit as far as the front seven goes, I think that secondary is something that can be exposed, and I think our big playability would be on showcase.
Yeah, I like that. I think that they definitely do have an advantage over the secondary, like this wide
Hmm.
receiver group. I think they'll have some success there. I like
Yeah,
Oregon's. Like, I don't think their offensive line gets enough credit. Like,
yeah,
I think people still think. I mean, it's fair. Like, think West Coast football. Like, oh yeah, they're like that
yeah. The
Pac-12,
boy is
like
physical up
spread
front.
out. These guys are really, really good. They by all means should have won the Joe Moore Award. It's kind of shocking that they did not. I think they will put that on tape this game, and I think be really physical against Tech's great front seven, and kind of show like, hey, we're gonna pound the ball. We can do this. We can move some bodies up front. So that's one thing I think will be a narrative after the game if it goes how we think it's gonna go.
So Oregon's law firm's going to take Texas Tech to court
I
and
think that's what
basically,
it is.
you know, put them away in prison, lock them up,
I
throw away
like
the
that.
key.
The point spread brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook has moved a little bit. It was at Oregon -1.5. It is now Oregon favored by 2.5. The over/under still sits at 52.5. What are you feeling? What is your score prediction?
31-17.
31-17. Okay. I've got Oregon 28, Texas Tech 23. I think it'll be a little bit closer, but I think that we both think that they cover. I could see it's always tough. You don't want to get overconfident. I could see it being more. I could see
Yeah,
this
I
being
can see it getting out of hand real fast.
I
Like,
really could see an instance where this is 42-20,
especially
42-23.
especially when you take into consideration turnovers, right? You never know how many turnovers are going to come out of a game like this, right? Um, Texas Tech hasn't seen, the talent level of an Oregon team,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, I don't think Oregon's seen a quote unquote defensive front like the one that they're going to face this week. We've had some matchups last year, but that was last year. You can't live in the past like that, right? So,
Mhm.
as far as what we have this year, this is something that can you get a turnover, you get a pick six, for instance, right, or a pick six to great field position. That changes the course and and trajectory of a game real fast.
Mhm.
And I think that's what playoff teams should be capable of, creating opportunities to get the ball back into your offense's hand, um, to put points on the board, not field goals. Look, I love our kicker, but I'm trying to see these touchdowns, man.
Yeah, I
Right?
agree. Well, and you also have to consider, like, rust could be a factor in this game. Oregon
Yeah,
played, what, 9 days
yeah,
ago, 10 days ago?
yeah. You
Texas
gonna
Tech
feel the
has not
they.
played in 3.5 weeks.
I
Like,
want. You know
we
what I
saw
really
last
want?
year.
We're gonna
Yeah.
get to these other games, right?
Yep.
I want some epic upsets.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Yeah. No, I mean, Oregon found out last year. They learned the hard way about how to prepare for one of these games when you've been off for that long. They have not been off that long this time. They had that tune-up game against JMU, which I think was very beneficial. How does Tech handle it? I mean, that's a Oregon. If they win the toss, I wouldn't be surprised if they took the ball and said, "Hey, we're going to go up early. We're going to try and score on you while you are still trying to get your feet wet and get back into this game shape." So starting fast, I think, is very imperative for this game.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, real quick before we move on, the uniforms have been a point of conversation.
Mm.
Do you have any thoughts?
Man, look, players play.
Okay,
That's all I'm gonna say.
okay,
I think Oregon. I think I love what Dan Lanning's actually doing. Right, like I think he's a guy that likes to challenge things, and I think this is one of those where he wants to challenge the narrative.
okay.
It's not about the uniform; it's about the players.
I think he couldn't care less. I don't think he even knows that these gray pants are cursed. But if you do not know, these gray pants are cursed, and I was a little bit bummed to see they're wearing them, particularly when they wear this uniform combo in big games. Hasn't gone well overall.
But how many years has it been since that? Huh?
I'll break it down for you. Overall, they are 16-9 when wearing gray pants. So you got a winning record, but when you're talking about Oregon standards, 9 losses over the past however many years. That's a lot. The last time they wore a white top, gray pants, I think was against Michigan State in 2015. That was a loss. Before that,
Mhm.
2015 championship game against Ohio State, loss. 2011 BCS championship, white tops, gray pants, loss. 2012, an OT loss to Stanford, gray pants. 2013, a loss to an unranked Arizona team, also came in gray pants. So for fans that are like, oh, why are we not wearing team colors? Why are we wearing gray pants? There is a reason why people are upset. So I agree. I think they can break the narrative. I don't know that that was Dan's plan. I don't think he gives a
He
what
probably doesn't
about what
care.
they're wearing. But
He's like,
no, he
"Look,
doesn't
I
know
don't
what they're
care.
wearing.
Just show up and
Yeah.
play football, please."
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. But it'll be interesting. That's at least a storyline going in. Like we'll see what
Mhm.
that record is after this game. All right, before we move forward, I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Backer, outerwear company founded by Oregon alum that Jay Stu and I have had the pleasure of working with. Incredible stuff. I've told you a lot about it before. Go to backer.com, that's bckr.com. Use promo code BELIEVE10, BLEAV10 at checkout for free expedited shipping and 10% off of your purchase. Again, backer.com, BELIEVE10. You're not going to want to miss out on this material. I was checking out some of the betting lines from our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. The national championship odds have not changed. Oregon's still at plus 700. That's fourth in the nation. I did see that they have hypothetical lines for the semifinal matchups should Oregon win. What do you think Oregon would be against Alabama or against Indiana if they were to win? What do you think that line would be? It'd be played in Atlanta.
Might be a +2, +1,
2.5 or plus 3.5. Oregon plus
+3.5.
3.5. Yeah.
Okay.
What about Alabama? What is Oregon versus Alabama if Alabama beats Indiana?
-2.
You're close. Minus 3.5.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
just, if Oregon wins this game, we don't want to look ahead, but that's just kind of what we're previewing.
We can look ahead, man. Look, we are
We're
not in the
allowed to.
locker room
Yeah,
anymore. We're allowed to
that's
do
true.
we can do what we want. Them
That's true.
them people in the locker room gotta stay focused.
That's fair. All right, real quick before we get out of here, I want to look at the rest of the college football playoff slate. We've got some incredible games this weekend. I'm really excited. Miami versus Ohio State on Wednesday night, Alabama versus Indiana after Oregon's game on Thursday, and then Ole Miss and Georgia on Thursday night. I am feeling more and more confident about Alabama's ability to upset Indiana. I don't know that I'm fully predicting it will happen, but I can see it playing out that way. Indiana feels so much to me like Oregon last year. Been off for 4 weeks. They've been riding high, won the Big Ten championship. Alabama coming off an impressive comeback win. They've kind of knocked off the rust. They've been here before. It just kind of feels like the same playbook in the Rose Bowl, nonetheless. Um, I think you were kind of feeling that way a little bit last week too.
Yeah, I definitely was. Um, I think here's the thing, right? I looked at last week just how guys are, the time off. That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
The teams that are facing the challenge of sitting on the couch or being at practice and playing against each other and twiddling your thumbs, that takes a toll, especially on a team that feels like they were deserving, right? And
Mhm.
and are proving that they are deserving and don't have the rust. Um, I look at that, I look at that quarterback. I think he's playing pretty good ball.
Mhm.
And his team responds. When you see a team respond to the quarterback play, I think that's something very special.
Yeah.
And he's been carrying the load, very well all year. Very efficient. Only given up 5 interceptions in the regular season. So when you have an efficient quarterback, anything is possible.
Yeah.
I think their run game suspect, but again, I think this all falls on the quarterback's shoulders. At the end of the day, when it comes to playing Indiana, you're going to be wanting to put up some scores from the get go.
Mhm.
So the running game is only there if you need it. And I'm saying if you need it for, moving the chains,
Mhm.
not depending on anything crazy for explosive play out of the run game. I
Yeah.
think everything is going to be operating from the sense of playing defense and having that quarterback protected.
You have any other thoughts on the other games, Miami, Ohio State, or Ole Miss and Georgia?
Um, I think Ole Miss. Ole Miss coming off of that confident game,
Hmm?
against Tulane. Had no business playing Tulane, but we already talked about that. I like the running back.
Yeah.
I like Ole Miss, and I love how explosive that team, looked and how they responded, and everything that they've gone through mentally with the coaching changes. I think that's a
Mhm.
dangerous team. That means they've bought into a whole system. Um, they rebought in.
Mhm.
If that's a phrase, they rebought in, and I think that's that can be refreshing, uh, and really utilized as a weapon
Mhm.
when it comes to playing these games where it is a mental game. It is absolute, you know, if you have a team that's full of vets, right? You have leverage. If you have a team of people that just believe and will run through a wall,
Mhm.
that's incredibly impressive, right? And so I think
Yeah.
that's where they are. And so I want these upsets to happen so that way they can look at this whole system and say, "Oh, this is trash,"
This doesn't work.
because the top teams are just losing because
Mhm.
they have too much time off.
Yeah.
And so the momentum in which these teams are carrying, um, I think it's going to pay dividends for them.
Yeah, I agree with you on Ole Miss. I like them. I like the momentum they have. I might pick them as an upset if they were going against anyone but Georgia. Like I
Yeah,
just think Georgia is that team, that good.
yeah,
They've got the coach, they've got the players. Like I think obviously I picked them to win it all. So
yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
But I mean, stranger things have happened, right?
It's
I
true.
mean, they playing Ohio State.
Yeah,
So Ohio State still got that boy over there, Jeremiah Smith.
that's true. Yeah.
It could be
All
one of
right.
them games where they just say, "Hey, we're going to give it to you 13
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
13 opportunities."
I think he would do a lot with those opportunities for sure. All right, let's wrap it up there. We'll be back on in the next few days, probably after the game to recap what goes down. Hopefully, that's a fun episode to record. Stu, you got anything to add before we get out of here?
Go Ducks. Run that rock.
Yeah, this should be a fun one. Should be an entertaining one for sure. You can
Yeah.
check out more of my work at duckswire at usatoday.com. Follow me, Zachary C. Neel, on Twitter. Follow Jay Stewart on Twitter at JonathanStewR1. For myself, Zach Neel, for my co host, Jonathan Stewart. We'll talk to you guys in a few days. Until then, take it easy.